Raider Nation, today is the day we've been waiting for since the off-season program began. For the first time, Raiders media was officially allowed inside the building during OTAs, which means we're no longer working off practice field photos and secondhand reports. We have actual footage, we have beat reporter observations, we have real information to sink our teeth into, and I want to go through everything that came out of this first open session, position by position, because there's genuinely a lot to process here. Let's start where everything starts, the quarterback situation. Fernando Mendoza has not taken a single first-team snap yet. Every first-team rep through OTAs so far has belonged to Kirk Cousins. And before anyone starts spiraling about what that means for the timeline or whether the Raiders are being too conservative, let me give you my honest perspective. This is exactly the right approach, and here's why. What we did see from Mendoza is worth paying attention to for entirely different reasons. There's footage of him taking snaps from under center and executing a full 7-step drop. And I want to spend a minute on that footwork because it's actually telling you something important about what Kubiak's offense is going to look like and what it demands from the quarterback position. A lot of modern NFL offenses are built around quick 3-step and 5-step drops. Get the ball out fast, reduce pressure time, protect the quarterback. Kubiak's system is different. When you want to hit those deep developing concepts, the 15, 20, 30-yard completions downfield, you need the quarterback to take that full 7-step drop to give the route time to fully develop and allow the receiver to get to the right spot at the right moment. What that also means is that your offensive tackles need to get legitimate depth in their vertical sets and hold blocks for longer than they would in a quicker hitting offense. This is a more demanding system mechanically, which is exactly why having Tyler Linderbaum at center and getting the right personnel decisions made at guard and tackle matters so much more here than it would in a spread and shred scheme. By the way, I'm trying my best to gather all the information I can and share it with you. If you're a die-hard Raiders fan like me, leave your likes and comments. I firmly believe we'll be on stage at the Super Bowl this year. I'd also appreciate it if you subscribed. Let's continue. Seeing Mendoza execute that drop cleanly, the footwork, the rhythm, the balance, is actually a meaningful data point. It tells you the physical tools to operate in this system are real. It tells you the work he's been putting in privately is translating to the practice field. He's not out there fighting the mechanics. He looks natural in them. As for Cousins working with the first team, I'm in full support of this structure right now. The mental side of quarterbacking is underrated in public evaluations. If you can get Mendoza to a place where he has completely mastered the system, the verbiage, the communication at the line, the pre-snap reads, everything except actually making the throws under live pressure. Before he ever takes a first-team snap in a real game, you've given him an enormous advantage. He's not going to be learning the playbook at the same time. He's learning how to survive an NFL pass rush. The foundation gets built first, then the pressure gets applied. That's the right order of operations. Now let's talk offensive line, because the first-team unit was revealed today and it's worth analyzing carefully. The starting 5 to open OTAs: Colt Miller at left tackle, Spencer Burford at left guard, Tyler Linderbaum at center, Jackson Paris-Johnson at right guard, DJ Glaze at right tackle. No major surprises here, but some important details worth discussing. The Burford at left guard position is exactly what we flagged based on the practice image analysis from earlier in the offseason. He's been working that spot. He has familiarity with the Shanahan family blocking scheme from his time in San Francisco, and the competition with Jordan Meredith is real, but Burford currently has the edge. Meredith isn't out of the picture. If Burford struggles in padded practice or preseason competition, that left guard spot remains genuinely open. JPJ at right guard is where I think you're going to see the most interesting battle develop over the next several weeks. Caleb Rogers has been cross-training at both guard positions, which tells you the coaching staff sees him as genuine competition for interior spots. If Rogers emerges as clearly the second-best guard option on this roster, which is possible, he ends up starting somewhere regardless of which side that turns out to be. DJ Glaze at right tackle is the position that carries the most uncertainty heading into the regular season. He's your most experienced option at that spot right now, and getting the first team reps makes sense. But this is a swing position. The Raiders need him to develop quickly, and if he struggles in preseason competition, Charles Grant is going to get genuine looks. The joint practice against Houston's defense in August is going to be a major evaluation moment for Glaze specifically. Going against an edge rusher of Will Anderson's caliber will tell you a lot about where he actually is. Overall, Mike Clay's PFF-based ranking has this offensive line at 18th in the league. I think that undersells the ceiling significantly. The Linderbaum upgrade alone changes the floor of this group dramatically, and if Burford or Rodgers settles into a consistent left guard role, I think this line finishes as a top 12 unit. But the right tackle situation is the variable that could keep this group from reaching that ceiling. Now let's get to Jermaine McCoy, because the footage from OTAs has me more excited about this player than I've been at any point in this process. He looks healthy, he's moving well, and here's the detail that really grabbed my attention. He's returning punts. During rookie minicamp, he was returning punts. At OTAs, he's returning punts again. This tells you a few things simultaneously. First, and most obviously, the knee is feeling good enough that the coaching staff is comfortable putting him in situations that require sudden direction changes and full-speed athleticism. That's not something you do with a player whose knee situation is genuinely uncertain. Second, it tells you the Raiders see real value in his contributions beyond just his cornerback snaps. A cornerback who can also return punts is a roster bonus. He contributes to special teams in a meaningful way while he develops his role in the defensive backfield. And his movement in the available footage is fluid. He stops quickly, redirects cleanly, shows the athleticism that had scouts projecting him as a potential top 10 pick before the injury. If that knee holds and every sign continues to point toward it holding, the Raiders are going to have one of the steals of this entire draft class playing meaningful snaps in year one. The corner competition is shaping up as a three-man race between Darren Porter, Eric Stokes, and McCoy for those two starting spots. At some point, all three of these guys are going to be on the field simultaneously in various packages, which means the question isn't really who starts. It's who plays the most snaps in what situations. McCoy competing for a starting spot in his rookie year, given the medical history, is a genuinely impressive development. Key Walker is someone who jumped out from today's footage as well. The size is immediately obvious on tape. That 6 feet 3 inches to 6 feet 4 inches frame at linebacker is rare and genuinely imposing. And watching him work through hand techniques, shedding blocks, moving his feet, the athleticism is everything the draft evaluation said it was. The knock on Walker throughout his career has been the mental side, the processing speed, the consistency of his decision-making when he has to diagnose a play and react in real time. But here's the thing about players with Walker's physical profile. They tend to develop late because they were drafted on physical traits that needed coaching refinement to reach their ceiling. Year 3, 4, 5 is typically when players like Walker start actually becoming the player the draft evaluation always believed was in there. I think Kay Walker's best football is still in front of him, and Rob Leonard's defensive scheme is going to unlock parts of his game that previous coaching staffs never fully accessed. Nakobe Dean's absence from OTAs is worth noting. The reporting I've seen suggests it may be related to a family obligation rather than a health concern, which is obviously a completely understandable reason to miss a voluntary session. If it's anything more serious than that, we'll find out soon enough, but right now I'm not reading anything alarming into it. When Dean gets back out there alongside Walker, that linebacker pairing has the potential to be genuinely special. Cody Lindenberg stepped in alongside Walker with Dean out, which is useful information in its own right. Lindenberg is your third linebacker, and there are going to be situations in a season where the third linebacker needs to play real snaps, nickel packages, injury situations, specific defensive calls. Seeing how he performs in those first-team reps is valuable data, and from what we're hearing, he's a player who has flashed enough to suggest legitimate development is happening. Now, the secondary situation that I want to address honestly, because there are some real questions that need answers before week one. Taron Johnson's absence is creating a lineup puzzle that the coaching staff is actively working through. Jeremy Chin and Traden Stokes have both been getting reps at the nickel position, and what the available information tells me is that Rob Leonard is building toward a Mike McDonald-style defense. Heavy big nickel, safety-heavy personnel groupings, a lot of disguised coverage with pre-snap movement designed to confuse quarterbacks rather than simply dropping into predictable zones. The problem is the specifics of who plays where. Stokes as a nickel corner creates some coverage concerns. He's built to be a box safety, physical against the run, capable in space, but asking him to shadow quick slot receivers in man coverage is a different ask. Chin at nickel creates similar concerns from the other direction. He's not quick enough to handle elite slot receivers in one-on-one situations. These are good players in the right roles. The question is whether the right roles are what they're currently being asked to fill. My honest read, Greedy Vance as the starting slot corner makes the most sense of the options currently available. He flashed last year in limited opportunities, he has the quickness profile for that position, and putting him there allows Stokes and Chin to operate in the roles that actually fit their skill sets. Stokes at free safety, with his athleticism working in space, Chin at strong safety, where his physicality is an asset rather than a liability. Isaiah Palau rotating in as that fourth defensive back gives you flexibility in how you deploy the group situationally. The slot corner question is the one I'll be watching most closely as camp progresses, because it's the genuine weakness in this secondary that opposing offenses will target. Every good slot receiver in the AFC West, and there are several, is going to run right at that position repeatedly. Getting the right player in that spot before week 1 is critical. Here's the overall picture coming out of the first real OTA session. The offense is installing Kubiak's system with Cousins taking first-team reps while Mendoza builds his foundation carefully. The offensive line has a defined starting group with real competition at left guard and right tackle. The defense is going to be more complex and aggressive than anything this fan base has seen in years under Leonard's coordination, and the secondary, while improved dramatically from what it was, still has one significant question to answer before this team is ready to compete at the level it wants to compete at. This is early. This is OTAs in May. Everything is subject to change and nothing is final. But the directional signals are clear, and the direction is right. What Kubiak is building in that facility, the culture, the scheme, the standard, is showing up in how these players are practicing and what these early sessions are producing. The regular season still feels far away, but it's coming fast. And right now, everything I'm seeing suggests this Raiders team is going to be ready for it.